What's going on, guys? This is just me filming in my garage. I get a lot of questions, people ask me different things, and I don't know, this is very informal, just me with my phone walking around. It is still cold out, I can't drive these things. I'm stuck just looking at them and wanting warmer weather. As you can see, I'm working out of just a regular two-car garage, nothing special. It's got enough space for my tools, my vehicles, which fortunately are pretty small, relatively speaking. So it seems like a lot more room. And all the junk that a dad and a hobbyist can accumulate. So as you can see, I've got my English wheel, got my welding rig, I've got kind of my all-purpose table with my hammers and files and my vise. Oh, a table with all kinds of junk above it and below it, and a shelf full, and toolbox, and rolly tools, and another toolbox. And all these things kind of double as a place to work and set things. And you can see the drill press gets double duty, and just, it's a little bit of everything, but it's doable. If you can talk your wife out of parking in the garage, it's doable. I got the skim board down here because we're about to go on a little vacation, and I don't want to forget it. Otherwise, just kind of a cool piece of garage art. But anyway, as far as these vehicles are concerned, I built these from scratch. I did not fabricate the frame. I purchased that from a guy. But besides that, I basically designed and built these. In this case, this is meant to look like a Morgan three-wheeler. It's pretty similar, except the dimensions of mine are somewhere between the old one and the new one. They made them in the 30s. They made them again in the early 2000s. They discontinued due to emissions. Now they're back as an EV. Mine is non-EV. It's, internal combustion engine. It's got this Moto Guzzi engine out front, which is a fantastic design. Gives a radial engine look that you want in something that's meant to look like aviation. It's transverse, meaning if you were sitting on the bike, these cylinders would be about where your knees are. You'd be on that side, not this side. But, most V-twins, it's the other way. The two cylinders match under the tank nicely. There's a front and a back. This you have left and right. Because of this, transmission goes straight down, the drive shaft goes straight down, and it makes something like this really, really easy. The actual real deal Morgans use an S&S motor, which is a Harley clone. They then use a Cush drive. They then hook up to a Miata transmission. Then I believe they have a shaft drive and then a belt drive for the last bit. I've heard a lot of pros and cons about the suspension, about the engines themselves, about the Cush drive to transmission, to drive shaft, to belt drive. I don't know. To me, this is motor, transmission, custom drive shaft, and then the final gear. And that works really well. I've had this on the road about 1,500 miles, and knock on wood, it's running great. I hand painted a lot of this. There are some decals. The flag was a decal. The Japanese Imperial flag kills are decal. And then my Air Force flag's decal. The exhaust stains are a real exhaust. I could angle this away from the body like Morgan does. They're more straight, mine's more contoured. I didn't know I'd get the exhaust trail, but I actually kind of dig it. So it kind of worked out. I'll pop this to show you. I'm going to grab a flashlight while I do this. Let's see if I can find it. That's why they invented pause. One moment. Okay, I'm back with the flashlight. It feels like flashlight has brake fluid all over it because I was bleeding brakes yesterday. Anyway, so that's the final drive as Moto Guzzi designed it, using the motorcycle suspension. I do have, if I can illuminate it without blinding it, a brake, what do they call it? A proportioning valve. So I can adjust the front and rear bias. I made this fender because without it, everything got really muddy, kind of gross back here. There's my battery. I have a battery kill switch. You just kind of see the nub of that sticking out, and then the little deal right there. Then this side is the glove box. I just have a bunch of tools, a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, title, VIN, all that. All right. So this is a, I don't know, beetleback, clamshell, whatever you want to call it. You can see these hinges I bought. They kind of have a, it's hard to do one-handed. You can see their design. They kind of hinge in the middle. I think these are actually for a toy box or something, but this hatch doesn't weigh a whole lot, and so that design just worked really well. My other one I'll show you in a moment has gas shocks. I tried doing gas shocks, and that was just kind of more trouble than it's worth. But you can see my construction, a steel frame with aluminum riveted to it. There's a million ways to do this. It's just the way I chose to do it. And then these are just like stainless steel boat latches with like hood pins. And it shuts down flush. I just can't do it one-handed. Anyway, so then the interior. This is a real aircraft yoke. Has a little speaker box in it. Ouch. It's got a little button. And it makes fun sounds when it wants to. Yeah. And that's just something I got off Amazon. The speaker box itself's right in that center. The whole steering wheel is removable, and the sounds come with it. So it's all battery powered in there. All right. And that's helpful for getting in and out. The rest is pretty straightforward. Got your turn signal stock. It's like kind of the go-to for, you know, do-it-yourself, hot rod, golf carts, whatever. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. This is all like an aircraft-inspired interior, as you can see. Found a guy on eBay that makes these, and it really kind of fit what I was looking for. I've got my guarded switches, and then those are, everything in here is waterproof. It's hard to see, but those have little rubber protectors on there. Everything else is marine quality and things of that nature. So I have got caught in a few downpours in this. I had to drill some drain holes because I didn't have those, and I had about 2 inches of water sloshing around. That was kind of a trip. But anyway, as far as this one, this was my first build. I learned quite a bit. These are QA1 custom dampeners. It's got a Toyota truck brakes, which is kind of unusual, but it works. Those are MG wheels and rotors, or not rotors, sorry, hubs. It's got LED motorcycle headlights up front with grills. That's pretty fun. And yeah, this one, like I said, meant to look like a Morgan. I'd seen Morgans, fell in love with it, and then I kind of made my vision board of how it should look. Different dimensions, lots of notes, kind of my drawings, you know. You get the idea. This was kind of a dream of mine to build, and for what it's worth, I'm pretty happy with it. And now this one, I call this one the Jagwing. So I think the name's funny. It has a Jaguar grille up front. The paint theme, livery, whatever you want to say, is off of a pretty famous P-51 Mustang. These are the fenders. I've yet to affix them. These are actually cycle fenders, you can see, that go on the Morgan replica, but I like this one open wheel. This one, that wide patch of tire, really needs a fender because it just flings all over you and the passenger. So this one, again, up front, there's just some electrical stuff. The brake the master cylinder, some things like that. But pretty much all the action is in the rear. This interior is nearly done. I have a piece that goes here, but I still have to adjust the stops of my shifter, but it's got to be warm before I can do that. I keep getting like 40 degrees and rainy. Anyway, I maintain the Honda gauge cluster that came from the Gold Wing, because honestly, I think it looks good. Kind of reminds you of a 90s Civic or Accord or something, but I don't mind that. Let's see. Everything lights up. Got your little, display. All the buttons, everything's working well. I've got my horn, I've got my fans on a switch, I've got my headlights up front. I'll light that up for you. It's kind of fun. That is a big LED up front. Blind you a little bit. It's the same as that one over there. I think that's 9 inches. I intentionally want it kind of tucked. Same thing, I've got these tiny turn signals. This one I opted for a switch rather than the big handle. These are small on purpose. Got a big, I think it's a 14-inch LED brake light in the back, which hopefully should provide the visibility I need. Hopefully. And I'll show you the fans. You can hear that. That's nice. It's a momentary rocker, and then little horn button. I'd fire it up, but it's cold. And I'm running low on fuel in this, and there's no reason to fuel it up. The fuel's just going to sit there, and you know how it goes. All right, I'm going to set this down for a moment and open this trunk. Try to prop it up. Yeah, that should work. All right. All right. Again, excuse the quality of this video. If I was a proper YouTuber, I'd have people following me and making this look good, but it's literally just me. So this, I want to do a boat tail. I want it to stand up on gas shocks, provide an easy way to work on things, get to things. You can see I've got cardboard on the ground. I use a lot of cardboard. Often I just put it on the ground to work on, or in this case, I kneel on it, as it saves your knees a bit. Again, it's dark back here. You can see the gas shocks mounting. It's not the best, but those kind of mount down to the original frame. I retained as much of the frame as possible. All this stuff fits in here pretty well. The radiators sit right behind those NACA scoops on the sides. The fans have been reversed, so they suck air in. Like I said, not the best video, but you get a sense of how wide this flat 6 engine is and all the things going to it. There is a lot. It's amazing they fit all this on the bike. You can see my exhaust coming down here to the sides, and those exit kind of right there. So yeah, like I said, I have lots of folks ask me questions. There's my coolant overflow reservoir. That's just a little billet piece. But yeah, this one, the last few details, if I got the shifter sorted out, I should be good to go. The suspension up front, I'm using upper and lower control arms, and I had to modify the lowers to change the mount point. These coilovers have yet to really be tested, but they seem to work well. They're just kind of a generic on-the-shelf part. Like I said, still working on fender mounts. I'll pop this hood off for you as well. Let me set this thing down again. Yeah, not sure anyone will actually make it to this point in the video, but if you do, you've got a lot of patience. Watch me fiddle around like this. All right, let's see if that will stay. Okay, so I'm using Zeus fasteners, as you can see here, and those kind of plug into these plates. If you're unfamiliar, there's like a little bar. Oh, that would explain it. Well, that's broke. I'll keep that up so I will notice that. Yeah, those just rivet in. Sometimes they break, apparently. But this is kind of the business end, if you will. I made that removable because I would hate to be upside down working in this area. That would just be miserable. Things are not quite as tidy as I would like them, but I have a little amp for the stereo I've got. Got two little speakers kind of hidden under there. You can see the master cylinder. This is a wheelwood to the brake pedal. See my gas pedal. This is kind of a generic hot rod deal, but works well. Got a few relays I'm going to mount a little better. You can see my brake lines down in here. Again, everything's kind of nasty looking at the moment, but I get it functional and I try and make it pretty, and sometimes function comes over form, I should say. But yeah, big idea making that removable. It was much harder, but it will make my life easier in the long run. Last thing I want to do is design something I got to tear apart because I didn't foresee having to maintain it. So anyway, this one's all open up. This one has a pair of seats. I did the interior. I've got some photos of the metalwork for all this. But this, what do they call it, quilted vinyl, looks fantastic and relatively cheap. And then I opted to do this rolled aluminum in the same quilted pattern using a bead roller. Not gonna lie, it took a long time, but it was kind of a fun thing to do, a fun project. I'm still pretty new to metalwork. So anyway, and these seats I pulled out of some type of Ford, like a Ford Freestar, some type of SUV minivan looking thing. I was actually there for the front seats, and I was sitting in the middle row attacking the front seats, and then I realized these middle row seats look good and should fit well. I'm actually very happy with those. Still got to install my seat belts. Those are sitting over on my shelf. Like I said, get this sorted, and this will be like a jockey shifter. Squeeze the handle, forward, back. That should be fun. This scoop I made is actually functional. You can see that. And I'm still working on it, but the idea is the ductwork will go directly into the air box, which is kind of, you see the hole, you see the scoops. Originally, Honda had ducts off the front of the fairing that fed into the right and left. I created that hole, and the goal, I can't see it, is to get the scoop and a hole directly in there. I think that'll provide adequate airflow as I go down the road. So anyway, if you watch this whole thing, man, I appreciate it. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, everything's kind of cluttered, kind of crazy. You've got polishing stuff next to parts yet to go on, next to electrical, next to metal, next to gas, next to a heater because it's cold, next to hammers, next to vise. You get the idea. It's a small space, but you can make it work. So anyway, hit me in the comments with any questions, thoughts you may have. And that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.